Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Collective Dialogue, Voices of Africa. Today with me, you have Serge Hope from Senegal. He's a human rights activist. You have Awa Daouf. Is that correct? Did I pronounce it rightly?
Juf.
Okay. She's also a human rights activist and from Senegal. We all understand that for the past weeks, there have been serious uprisings in Senegal. And you also have Marco Borrero, correct? Oh no, that name is
Yes,
hard.
Macomborero.
He
That's
is
correct.
from Zimbabwe and an activist too. So, like I was saying, for the past weeks, we have seen that there have been serious uprisings in Senegal, and more or less, we really do not know what is going on. We only understand that elections were cancelled, but that is how much we know. So today we have activists from Senegal on the ground in the diaspora and from Zimbabwe to tell us exactly what is going on. So we start with Serge. So can you introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your journey into activism?
Hi everyone, I'm Serge. I'm an African activist, as Nalawa said. I'm literally working as activist in Senegal since 1929. No, 29. Yeah, 2009 in Senegal. And so what?
On the ground.
Sometimes people see me like a political activist, but I'm in many subjects about activism, yes, but most of the time it's about I talk about politics.
And are you currently based in Senegal?
Sorry, come again?
Are you based in Senegal?
Yes, I'm based in Senegal.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Awa, can we get a little bit of introduction from you? We can't hear you. Your volume is out.
Sorry. I come again. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be with you guys today. I am Awa, and I'm a Senegalese living in France, in Paris. And I can call myself a human rights activist, and I'm working in association, NGOs, with my study and my work today. And I'm maybe younger in the activism than Serge, but I'm in the thing like for some years now, and not only for Senegal, but in Africa and the whole world.
Thank you very much, Awa. I don't know. He's not Malcolm. I will just call him Malcolm because it's hard for me to pronounce the entire name. Okay, he's back. So can you introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Macomborero Arusilisha.
It seems like he's having network issues. Okay, maybe we continue and before he gets back, is that okay? Okay, yes. So Serge, if I remember very well, the only thing I know is that I was supposed to be in Senegal on the 25th of February as an observer. And now there are no elections. So can you tell us briefly what's going on and what the constitution says and all of that, so that those of us who are not Senegalese people can understand exactly why people are on the streets?
Okay. Sorry for that. You should be here for the elections, like as observer. But yes, maybe because that it's postponed now, you will be able to assist to this election. Yeah. What happened is that there is 2 week or the last week, the president did a speech and said that he postponed the elections. Why? Because he says that there is an institutional crisis between the National Assembly and the Constitutional Court. What is exactly for? Because one of the opposition parties, PDS, they are calling, they have been calling, said that one of the judge of the Constitutional Court were corrupt. They received money to refuse their candidate, which who is Karim Wad. Maybe some of you know him. It's the son of the former president Abdullah Wad. But the fact is that the constitution says that uh, the the term of the mandate of the president is for, yeah, this year 2024. Normally, he could not postpone the election. That's what the constitution said. In his article 103, it says that uh, the president can't change the constitution, can't change the delay for the elections, and has to organize it 45 days or too late 30 days before the term of his mandate, which is for April 2. But the president did it. He said that he postponed it. That's why people were outside reclaiming that we need our election for February 2025. And we've lost 3 lives and many more prisoners. Now the president is calling for a dialogue with the opposition, and the principal opposition, who is Usman Sonko, who is actually in prison. That's exactly what happened in Senegal. That is very sad, but that's why what we are facing. There is something new about all this, because yesterday the Constitutional Court talked to the president that it's not possible that he postponed the election. And now this is what we are facing too. He says this morning that he will respect all the decision coming from the Constitutional Court, but we need to postpone a bit the day of the election, which normally should be on February 25. Now we are waiting for the new date. That's exactly what happened last week.
I see. It's a bit complicated. I really do not have. I cannot say that's very bad, because where I come from is different. It's worst. So uh, we change the dates at random. We even change the constitution at will, and nothing happens. So I'm very proud of you guys. Believe me, I'm proud of the Senegalese people, because they don't take anything for nothing. They just like, we don't want this, we don't want this, and they make their point. Okay, so I understand that the Constitutional Council just overruled the decision of the president, which is a good thing, but also something I didn't find normal, because I don't know if that's how it's done in Senegal. It says that the president should organize the elections at the earliest possible time. Okay. Um, as a lawyer, I will tell you that that is more or less of an ambiguous statement. It doesn't make any sense, because the earliest possible time could still be 2026 for him. So I need you to explain to us what that means in your country. I don't want to say it the way I see it. I need you to tell me what that meant.
Yeah, so thank you for Serge for explaining all the things that happened. I will just want to add something, and you will understand why us Senegalese people are not happy into bracket with this decision of the comment on les appelle the constitutional court, because it's them who disqualified the principal opponent, Usman Sonko, with a good fight. And we all knew that it's because the president, Macky Sall, is behind them. So if they just came today and told us that they will respect the law and they will say, yes, you should like do the election in the best time, like that's why we are so skeptical with this decision, because we thought that they had to tell to the president that your term is on the 2nd of April, so you have to organize the election 30 days before the end of your term. And this is the problem. For example, for me, it's my own opinion. That's why I'm very, very skeptical about this decision, because we don't know when. We know that it won't be in the 25th of February, like next Sunday, but we don't know when. So between that time, that president could do everything. Everything. It could quit. It could sometimes, like, we are thinking about some kind of military coup, because in his previous talk to the people, he just say, if the opposition couldn't find a way to agree, the country will be in better hands. And we know what better hands mean. And a few days ago, the French journalist, the French TV was talking about military coup. So I don't know. I think that it's not normal that they didn't give us a date, and but we are just waiting and hoping that they will take the best decision for the Senegalese people, and they will respect the constitution, they will respect the law, and they will put their own interest and do what is better for Senegal. Because today the Senegalese people are done with this president. So I don't know if I answered to your question, but
Yeah, I understand. I understand. But my question still is, for example, I know there are some countries who say that, like, they have laws. They say you must hold election within this period, but for some reason, something happens, you can still extend it by 90 days, or So my question is, um, we all know there's no elections on the 25th. Okay, because it's too short now to have an election, except we want a rigged election. Now,
yeah.
my question is, now that the Constitutional Council did not say you must hold this election by the 1st of April, what if the president says, okay, I will hold it, like I said, in December? So it's still the same thing. So don't you think that maybe the Constitutional Council was just doing something or saying something to make sure that people go back into their houses?
Maybe not, because our constitution, that what I was saying, they have, maybe it will not be the next Sunday, but in the constitution, the president has to organize the election 30 days before his last day. So 30 days before the 2nd of April means calcul the 3rd of March, or yeah, the 3rd of March, or maybe the 10th of March. It's, if they follow the law, if the constitutional court made the president respect the law, he has to organize the election at least at the 3rd of March or the 10th of March. But now, as we're talking, we don't even know if the constitutional court has this power and could force the outgoing president Macky Sall to organize the election.
Thank you very much, Ewa. So your constitution doesn't have any exception to this rule.
I don't think so. I don't know what's
Yeah, because
about
because
that, but
I'm
because
asking because the can that we just had now in January into February was supposed to be held in June or July in Ivory Coast, but then it was shifted because they said during that period is a very bad period in Ivory Coast. So that's why I'm asking that your constitution doesn't give exceptions to this rule. No.
I will let.
No, it's absolutely clear in the Constitution. In the Article 103, it says that it's impossible for the president or anyone else to change these 2 points: the mandate of the president and the delay for organizing the constitution, the election. So it's absolutely clear. No one can change it. One thing is clear, actually: the president cannot extend his mandate. So in April 2, he'll have to leave by force.
Mm.
So one thing is possible: he can resign before the election, and now the president of the National Assembly will be the president and have to organize the election in 3 months, 90
Oh,
days.
I
That's the
see.
only possibility. Or too late, as I said, he has to organize the election between 3 or 10 of March. That's the only possibility he has.
Okay, thank you, Seth. So I would go to Malcolm. I'm sorry, but I have to shorten the name for my own sanity. It's very long. So Malcolm, I was in Zimbabwe during the elections, and I think I've been to several countries as an observer, and but in Zimbabwe there was something about it. There was an election, but it was like people were voting in a lot of fear, you know. And I'm looking now at the Senegalese that are on the street actually seeking for an election. And then when I go back to your country where there was actually an election, but it looked like people were scared to vote, people were scared to speak out loud, people were basically scared. So I need you to explain to us how these two scenarios actually fit, how it works we are both Africans, these are African countries. One is Zimbabwe, one is Senegal. Senegalese are on the street asking for an election. I don't think when I looked at your people, they didn't look like they wanted an election, because people want election, they're always happy to do it. But in your case, it wasn't like that. People were even advising me not to speak out loud, or I will end up in jail, which was true because a lot of people were arrested during the elections. So we need you to tell us the general atmosphere in Zimbabwe during the last presidential election.
With what you've just described, Naloa, I can safely say I'm right now looking at a lady. The first lady I've seen was a time traveling machine. Was what you've described about Senegal and Zimbabwe. When in Senegal, we were describing about the past of Zimbabwe, and when you were mentioning Zimbabwe, we were describing about the future of Senegal. So only a person with a time traveler machine who can travel into the future of Senegal and into the past of Zimbabwe can have an observation that you made. Why am I saying so? I am saying so because what you are seeing in Senegal, it's what used to happen in Zimbabwe. People were hopeful. People were, still getting in the streets. If you go to the 90s, 1997, popular stairways, um, during the 90s when Robert Mugabe wanted to impose a one-party state, people getting in the streets, students, activists, people were doing all this, but they had such a vision like we have now. They would have fought better. They would have put more effort. Why? Because eventually the cumulative effect of authoritarianism was that it resulted in systematic and systemic military capture, military state capture. Why the military became the only functional and strong institution in the country. It overpowered all other institutions and systems of governance, like the judiciary, the parliament, the legislature. We got to even the executive. We saw the military doubling in everything, be it economic programs, be it agriculture. I'm sure you have heard of things like command agriculture. Agriculture on itself, they need the command element. Why? Because the army that is running it. I don't know if the army commanders will be commanding the rain to fall, or commanding the sun to shine on crops, or commanding the seeds to germinate. But we have command agriculture, and we got to this conundrum. Why? Because there was a government, there was a leadership which did not respect the constitution, which did not live up to the dictates and the spirit and letter of the constitution. They focused on themselves, they focused on power. Like, look, President Macron, with all due respect, he knew that his term would come to an end. He knew that elections had to be held. There are clear guidelines in the constitution which must be followed. There are clear processes and national institutions where civil servants are paid, per month to do their job. There are people who wake up every day, who have been going to work every day for the past 5 years to ensure that they deliver this, democratic exercise freely, fairly, and smoothly. But here we are. It appears like no one, like it's a pandemic that came without anyone expecting. But everyone knew that there were supposed to be elections at this point. It appears like it's something that happened in the middle of the night, certainly, but everyone knew that elections would have to be held at this juncture. So, yeah, my message to Senegalese is, whatever you think you are, fighting, it's even bigger than you can imagine. Bigger problems will come. You will be plunged into a chaos, and when the military comes in, it will come in as a savior. You will celebrate the military when they come in, because they will be appearing like they are saviors meant to carry the day, to save the day, to secure the future. But they are just creating conducive conditions for them to justify their unconstitutional and illegal takeover of of civilian governance processes. It will be the militarization of civilian processes, and when that finally happens, you will regret. You will then get into what Naloa has already seen into the future. She traveled into the future of Senegal when she came to Zimbabwe and saw people who looked defeated, people who were shadows of their former selves, people who are just participating in an exercise called voting, but it's predetermined. It was just a military drill in summation. So it's a crisis, and it's so painful if we are to check that we cannot afford to hold a mere election to just deliver a mere democratic outcome in this day and age, when the rest of the world is really finding ways on how to make use of uh, you know of artificial intelligence and pioneer the fourth industrial revolution. It's so sad. It's so sad on how a new world order is being created on a global stage, and Africa is not participating. Why? Because we are busy failing to run mere elections, busy failing to just do the basic things like conduct mere votes, mere voting process, and we're getting left out when a new world order is being, is being constructed. And that when that new world order is constructed, it will be imposed on us Africans, it will be imposed on Senegalese people, it will be imposed on Africans, despite the fact that they did not participate. It will be imposed the same way the outcomes and outputs of the Berlin Conference were imposed. It will be imposed the same way currently, if you check the dynamics between the global north and global south are being imposed, to be imposed on us, on how the financial systems and everything are being imposed. And we will get into another generation of lamenting, of crying foul, but we are seeing these things happening before our eyes, our very own eyes, and we cannot afford to do this. I think as Africans, we need to rise up and say no to this. We need to make, our leaders more accountable. People should fear subverting the constitution, because it's treasonous. People should know that there are consequences if they fail to, deliver on their basic national duties. People should know that there are consequences if they subvert the constitution. People should know that there are consequences if they don't do their jobs, which they are paid for, which they pledged allegiance to, which they, took an oath of office to fulfill. People should know that there are consequences, and there should be institutions. We need strong institutions in Africa where, like for example, if the presidential term ends, I want to quote the example of the United States of America. The July 6th insurrection when Donald Trump didn't want to leave power. I'm quoting the American example, not because it's a role model democracy which we should copy as Americans, but I want to emphasize the power of how strong institutions function. He didn't want, he was the commander of the one of the arguably the most powerful militaries in the world. The country with the he had the nuclear codes with him, but he couldn't subvert or sabotage the system in as far as its operations were to deliver the democratic output. When he attempted that insurrection, there already was when transitional mechanisms, there already were systems to run the elections and deliver clear outputs, and it's what we also need in Africa to construct using to tailor make our own systems which know how to operate outside the confines of personalities of individuals, systems and institutions which can make a democracy workable, which can make the will of the people deliverable, which can ensure and guarantee that the stability of Senegal, stability of Africa at large is is realized. And that is only when we can do that. That is when Africa will be stable. That is when we can have more time to focus on economic development, more time to focus on coming up with solutions for the various problems we face economically, the environment, and also participate in the in the fourth industrial revolution, partake in nanotechnology, all the resources which are being used to sponsor the fourth industrial revolution, they come from Africa, but it seems like Africans were busy measuring on miners. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a good start for us as Africans. But before we continue, I have shared the Facebook link. It looks like the link to the studio was shared out to people, but that link was only for us who had to be on the show. But now it seems like the link is in the public because like more than 100 people are trying to get into the show, which is not possible. So I have shared the Facebook link. We can share it to the people maybe in our WhatsApp groups, and then they can join through Facebook or YouTube or Twitter. It's on Twitter too, it's streaming on Twitter live. Because the studio is alarming, like people are trying, maybe they're thinking that it's where they can watch the show.
Yeah, personally, I've shared the studio link because I thought that was the only one we have.
Yeah, okay, so you can
Sorry for
just
that.
delete it
My
from the.
bad. Me too. Me too.
Eh,
And
I
I just
know.
said to Awa that she can share it.
Yeah, our bad. So people who are watching, we will send it
Did
on
you
our
put it in a
group.
WhatsApp forum? Because if it's in a WhatsApp forum, you can just delete it for everybody and then you send them the Facebook link.
It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so like he just said that I think what we as Africans need to do is to free ourselves first from imperialism. I think that is where we are stuck, like Africans. It doesn't matter whether you come from South Africa, you come from Nigeria, you come from Southern Cameroon. It doesn't really matter. I think as Africans, like we keep saying, we need to come together as one man. And I think as activists, we have a lot to do with that. Most of our people look up to us as more of their leaders than their actual leaders. We need to unite. If the actual leaders cannot unite, I think the activists need to unite and try to educate the masses. Believe me, I'm happy with what is happening in Senegal. It's to show us that at some point, some Africans still know what it is that they want. It doesn't matter the consequences, because from the videos that I have seen, it takes somebody who wants change to be out there. Because everything flying around, the tear gas, the guns, and all of that, it takes only somebody who says, it's okay if I'm gone, but if my children have something better. I think that is how I see the Senegalese people, because I think they are the one people in a couple of months is the second time that they are on the streets. So I would want, I think a lot of people have not seen what is going on. So maybe the tech guy can play us some of the videos of the riots in Senegal so that others can see what actually is going on.
Sale est un dictateur. Macky Sall, dictateur.
Il aide à marcher semble ne pas y croire. C'est une balle réelle qui a atteint au ventre Modou Gueye, 23 ans. Ce marchand ambulant se trouvait à Colobane vendredi avec son frère, qui témoigne.
Je jure, et Dieu m'est témoin, que nous ne manifestions pas. S'il avait jeté des pierres, je l'aurais dit. S'il avait brûlé des pneus, je l'aurais dit. Dieu nous l'a repris. Mais je jure au nom de Dieu qu'il ne faisait pas ça. Ils l'ont tué injustement. Ce garçon est innocent.
Lui assure avoir vu un homme en uniforme tirer sur Modou, qui est mort des suites de ses blessures dans la nuit de vendredi à samedi. L'information n'a pas été confirmée par les autorités. Il est la seconde victime connue des manifestations de vendredi au Sénégal. Car un étudiant est mort également à Saint-Louis dans le Nord. Une enquête a été ouverte. Partout dans le pays, les rassemblements ont été dispersés par les forces de sécurité.
Macky, ça suffit. Nous voulons la paix. Nous en avons assez. Nous ne voulons pas de violence.
Nous en avons marre de Macky Sall. Il a terminé son mandat, qu'il parte et nous laisse avec notre pays. S'il ne peut pas organiser des élections, nous le ferons sans lui. La vie est chère, rien ne marche ici. Qu'il quitte le pouvoir.
Vendredi, le président Macky Sall a accordé sa première interview depuis l'annonce du report de la présidentielle. Il continue de nier catégoriquement vouloir se maintenir au pouvoir.
C'est un tableau qu'on peint, mais qui ne correspond pas à mon profil, qui ne correspond pas à ma personnalité et qui ne correspond pas à la réalité. Je suis pour un processus inclusif, transparent et apaisé qui permette un passage de relais dans la douceur et dans la paix.
Baby, your microphone, Naloa.
Sorry, thank you. That seems to be very serious. So, Serge, can you explain to us what the people were saying? That's in French, because believe me, even I didn't understand what they were saying. The only thing I got is that they want peace, things are expensive, and they need him to go. That's all I got.
And that's the key thing to understand. They were just saying that Macky is now enough. He needs to leave. And what were the man you saw just in the first 10 or 20 seconds died 2 or 3 days after he was literally killed. So that's why people were protesting. They were just saying Macky needs to leave now. That's the key message you need to understand.
I would just add for this little boy, because his story was really heartbreaking and touching. He was not protesting. He was a seller, and he was just selling a Senegalese flag. And as we have been eliminated for the African soccer cup, he had a stock of Senegalese flags, and he wanted to just like sell his stock, and he take a bullet from the defense forces, and his brother was explaining while they were taking back and put him in the cab to bring him at the hospital. One police officer tried to target them again, and this guy died in the night of Friday and Saturday. And it's the same. They talk about another student of the University of Saint Louis, and he had a bullet too. And another one, he was 16 or 17, and he has been killed by the police officers.
Wow. So I'm so sorry to hear about that. Believe me, I can relate to that. I also come from where I have seen kids, shot right in front of me, shot in their beds, burnt in their homes. I can relate to that. But my question is now this goes to our, usually in Africa, they usually say the women are the ones that are in charge of the sick. They always give us the caring things, the caring part of things. So all of these people that are affected by these riots, like the ones with the bullets, maybe those that didn't die, those that have been wounded, and all of that. How do you people attend to them? Because I'm sure with protests of this magnitude, you have a lot of injury. Because I can see from the video that the population is fighting with the military and all of that. Believe me, the population is harmless. They are with sticks and stones, but the military has all the weapons. So how do you people cope with situations like this?
Um, first of all, like I will talk about the PASTEF, the principal, the party of Mr. Usman Sonko, the principal opponent. They organize themselves, and all the detainees, all the person who get injured, all the family who lost someone, they help them. They will visit them in the prison. They will give them money. They will give them food, and will give them. They will help them as they can, and it's not them. If the party could do that, it's just because like Senegalese, like Serge, like me, like all the people give them money, and a part of that, there are lots of other people who are just helping them. We've seen the example yesterday. I don't know if you saw it, but yesterday, we don't know why they decided to free like almost 500 people.
Our,
So
come on, you know why? There is so
yeah,
much
we know
pressure
why.
on the president.
We
We know.
know. We know why. We know. We know why. And they free them. But like at the moment that they start to free the people, like people from PASTEF, people from other activist like organization, like went to the prison. They give them money to go back, and they keep helping them. They are so organized. Like and there is something that maybe uh, one of the parliament, Mr. Guy Marissagna, always said, and he said it like when he was in Paris, like in January, he said, in PASTEF, when we have money, it's not like this money is for this or for that. We use the money for the emergency. So we had the money, the party had the money, but like if today we had like some detainee who is like injured or who needs to like go abroad for surgery or this kind of thing, they will give the money. So this is the and for today, people are organizing. There is a cell of medicine, of psychologists, of social workers, like for helping all these people. So yeah, everybody is doing what he can to help all these people.
Hmm. I'm really so proud of you guys. Believe me, because I haven't seen many African countries where the opposition even cares that the population are actually fighting for them. They always are like, all of us are fighting for our future. It doesn't look like you're fighting for me. But in your case, the opposition is actually helping out the injured, which is a perfect. I think if I was a Senegalese right now, I'll be voting for the opposition. No, sincerely, I think I will be doing that
You
because
should not say it before coming because they'll stop you in the
Yeah, they
airport.
will stop you at
They'll
the
arrest
airport.
you from airport.
I know, I know. Oh, come on, I'm joking. Actually, I wasn't going to vote for anybody. That's nice. That's nice to know. It shows how strong the opposition is. Because there are little things like this that you do for your people that they see the leadership quality in you. You know, um, I don't know about Zimbabwe. Are you with us?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I don't know about the relationship that the opposition. I know the major opposition party in Zimbabwe is the CCC, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
What kind of relationship does it have with the people? Because when you see a people rise like this, it means that the opposition has this strong, it relates strongly with the people. It's the only reason that a group of people will stand up and say, "This is our leader, and we need you to go." So, what kind of relationship? I know you are from the opposition, so I need you to tell me what kind of relationship you guys have with the masses. Because a lot of when I came back from Zimbabwe, I heard a lot of Zimbabweans saying that the elections were rigged, the elections, all complaints. But that's okay. But the problem is only the people have the power to change anything. I always say that only the people. Now, what relationship does the opposition have with the people? Is it an opposition of giving speeches? Is it the one that connects with its people, helps the people listen to their cries? Like, let's forget about the election period where people promise heaven and hell, to people. Let's talk about a normal day. Is the opposition able to reach out to its people the way the opposition is doing in Senegal, like we've just heard? If this protest was in Zimbabwe, was the opposition going to behave in the same way?
Um, in Zimbabwe, it's a very unique case of democratic malaise in Africa, um, retrogression, you know, of democracy. It's a case. I think it's a role model case of modern day competitive authoritarian regimes. When I say competitive authoritarian regime, I imply to those dictatorships that preach the need for democracy, but do everything to undermine the very systems that make and processes that make democracy possible. I imply to those governments that preach the need for elections, those authoritarian uh, regimes that preach the need for elections. They love elections just like liberal regimes do, but they need elections for different reasons. They want elections to legitimize their illegitimate hold to power. Elections are just but processes to say, look, we are democratic, we held elections. And this means these elections have predetermined outcomes. There is closure of the democratic space. The judiciary is captured. Like when you came to Zimbabwe, you saw how the courts were, in this election, the courts played a bigger role than, I think there were more court cases than rallies of all parties that were contesting. There were more court cases than rallies conducted by all the political parties that were contesting. It shows you how these elections were micromanaged. It shows you how they pretend to say we're following due processes, you know, we are a democratic state, but then these are micromanaged processes. So this is the area and environment which the opposition is operating under. I'm sure you picked it up that the opposition here, like the ruling party, the government, they captured the opposition party, its infrastructure, its assets, headquarters, and everything. So in this election, the opposition was now it contested under the name MDC Movement for Democratic Change in 2018. 5 years later, they had to change to CCC, Citizens Coalition for Change. Why? Because the previous party had been captured by the government through the courts and everything. And the main opposition leader, Advocate Nelson Chamisa, had to lead into a process of forming another democratic vehicle in order to give the people of Zimbabwe a vehicle to realize their democratic aspirations. And that was the Citizens Coalition for Change, which I'm sure if you follow the news in Zimbabwe, it's also under persecution now. It's being pummeled left, right, and center. And the president of the opposition is actually distanced himself from the party that he formed. That's how things are in Zimbabwe. But I'm giving this background for you to understand how a party is formed a few months before elections, and actually goes on to win, all the urban councils, 32 out of 32, which is the majority. It goes on to compete and win, in the good number of constituencies and get MPs into parliament. It goes on to competitively challenge in terms of also the presidency to such an extent that the Electoral Commission had to provide unsubstantiated and verifiable election results. They just came up with figures which they cannot account for as to how they came up with those figures. This shows how the people of Zimbabwe are determined, how the people of Zimbabwe have been battle hardened to understand that, yes, this is the situation that we're operating under. The civilian space has been militarized, everything is captured. So we need to also adapt and act fast and know that, come what may, we need to remain truthful to our struggle. And these are the true leaders who represent us. And it was reflected through their efforts, through the candidates they voted for, through a political party which was less than 1 year old when it contested in the elections. So I think in a nutshell, your question was as to the connection between the opposition and the people. There is a very, very healthy relationship. And because the party is the people are the party. They view a party not as a vehicle to just politics, but they view it as their freedom train. When they go for elections, Zimbabweans now understand that on the elections, it's not about the candidates that are there, but it is about their very livelihoods, their welfare, jobs, employment, housing. Zimbabwe is one of the countries where we have millions in the diaspora as economic and political refugees. It's pathetic. And these people are the creme de la creme in terms of the human resources. They are educated, trained professionals who are working in other countries, developing other countries. It's a sad story for Africans. Why? Because previously we used to complain that the European imperialists and slave masters came and stole our people and enslaved them in America, in Europe, in the United Kingdom. But now the roles have been reversed. It is us, the black sons and daughters of the soil, who are running away from our motherland to go to Europe. And here, let's not make no mistake. Let's not blame the oppressed Africans who are seeking better fortunes. It is because they clearly identify that they are leaders, they are dictators, they've captured everything. They are corrupt and they are expatriating all the resources to go to Europe. They are making dubious mining deals, selling out our resources to Europe. So by going also to Europe, we're simply following our resources. If we want better roads, the man that was supposed to be building roads in our African countries, it's developing roads in Europe. So we're going there to work on our roads, So this is how it is, and it's not a very good situation, but that's what it is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The last part was really funny. You said that you guys are following your resources to Europe. So as they're taking the resources, you guys are going behind the resources.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a perfect explanation. I agree with you. I agree with you. Because when you take
yeah,
everything from home, then I have to move with those things because there's
yeah,
nothing left for me there.
yeah, yeah. We just have to leave Africa with nothing, because everything is already
As
left
we
ahead of
move.
us. We are following our everything.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. So, Sesh, can you tell me? So, now we have some decision from your constitutional council that says at the earliest possible time. Now, what are the next steps? What are you guys hoping to do? Are you guys going to continue with this protest until the 2nd of April? Are you going to wait and see what happens between now and the 2nd of April? Because, like I said, that decision to me looked like their hands were tied. That's how we usually say it. It doesn't say you must organize elections before the 2nd of April. It says at the earliest time. So, what are the plans? Should we expect the protests to keep going? Are the protests going to cease for a while? You know,
My own opinion is that people should continue protesting. We have protesting organized for tomorrow. I think it's for tomorrow, Saturday. Yeah, I think people should keep doing this protesting because that's the only thing the president doesn't like. People were protesting today, and the police went there. My own opinion is that they should continue this, but are them going to do it? Because I don't know, because today we saw that since yesterday they are setting free many people from the prison, and maybe he's expecting that this will bring calm, and yeah, people will forget about all the political crisis, and let it go. I think, and I wish that this will not go like that. I think that the constitutional council said that the president must organize the election before April 2. Now, if you were expecting to do it before in November 5th, December 15th, it's actually impossible. It's not possible. They won't organize it for it. Now, I told you in the first case that maybe he can go till uh, April 2, and now he'll leave by force. It's normal. And now the president of the parliament will be the president for 3 months. This is possible, and he will organize the election if he wants. He has to. But actually, I think because that he answered it today, saying that he will do all that the constitutional council asked it, so we can hope that we'll have the election too late in March 10. That's what I hope, and I'm pretty sure that he will do it because actually he has so many pressure in it. The international the other countries from international uh, saying so many things about Senegalese. All the press in the international are talking about Senegalese, and he doesn't like that. He knows that he's still young, let's say young, and he wants to work in international services. So if he wants to do it, he has to go in a certain manner, and that's why I think that he will organize this election in March. But currently, he's calling for dialogues also. I think there is no place for dialogues actually. The only thing possible is that we have 20 candidates, well, not 21, 20 candidates,
Yes.
and they have to go for the election. They have printed everything, they have all the election materials available. So now he has to organize it and let the people choose the president. Now, maybe he's afraid for all his or the guy from his party or for his brother or people like that. But this is Senegal is a republic. Senegal is not a monarchy. It's not a it's not for Macky Sall. It's not for his family. Senegalese need to choose their president. If the president come and now need to bring justice, he will bring justice. If this guy did many things wrong, they will have to pay for that. That's actually what I think, and that's why I think also that the process should keep going. The manifestation for tomorrow should happen also. And if he feels all this pressure, if he keeps feeling it, he will leave the power and leave leave the Senegalese for free.
Uh, I understand. Thank you very much. So let me understand. What's the presidential term in Senegal? Because I don't understand. Is it that after he cannot go into the elections again? Are his terms over? Because that's what I don't understand. If he can still stand as a president, then he could go into the election.
Now he can't go for the election again because this is his second and last term.
Oh,
So
I
now
see.
for this election, he can't be candidate. He has to leave. He also has chosen another candidate, which is his prime minister.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's, if I may, this is the main
Um, I'm not hearing you. Are you
you
guys
hearing
hearing now?
me? You hearing
Now we
me?
can hear you now.
What I was saying is what Serge was saying is in our constitution, a president cannot rule two presidency like he can just do two term, and this is the problem, and that's why people was protesting in June 2023. He wanted to to rule as a third term, and the constitution was not allowing to try a third term. So that's why we had all these protesting, all these Senegalese killed because they didn't want him to run for a third term. So
Oh,
now you know that that's why he put someone else, but the person he put, like, people don't like him and he is not popular, and they know that he will not win the election. I don't even know if he'll have 1%, if we'll have 1%. So that's why they are creating all these stuff, all these like problem between the parliament and the constitutional council.
oh,
This
I
is,
see. Now I understand what's going on. Thank
yeah,
you
and
very much.
he's not ready to leave the power. That's what Serge was saying, because he's afraid, because they did a lot of mess. There are like almost 71 Senegalese who has been killed by the defenses force, and 71 is the official number. There are other that has been tortured, has been they were like physically abused. Maybe they died later because of that. We don't know. There are people who died because of the gas. Comment on dit lacrymogène? The
Tear gas.
yeah, the tear gas. Yeah, the tear gas. So we have like 3 officially they died because of that, but maybe there are other person. So officially there are 71 Senegalese that die because the defense forces killed them. So he
Mm.
know that the next president, we will ask justice. Even the president say, "Oh, it's okay, we will let him." He knows that Senegalese people will ask for justice because
Justice.
so much wrong for people, to people.
Oh, now I understand because I was like, okay, but he can just go in for the elections and, as usual, just win and then life goes on. You know, we're in Africa, we don't mind. The sitting president just wins and then we keep going. Like somebody just wrote a comment and Diane, she said, an aware people is dangerous for any dictatorship. Believe me or not, I think one of the people that have shown us that they will not accept dictatorship is Senegal. I have been following, from the previous protest, remember? And now you can see that they have stood their grounds and they have said no is a no. But I think this is something that the rest of Africa needs to understand. You know, we see a military taking over countries now, and most often it is because the civilians were unable to stand their grounds. So the military steps in, which is not supposed to be that way. We are supposed to be the ones to say, no, enough is enough. And it is something that is going around Africa. Sometimes I even look at your current president is even a boy compared to some other president. You know, some of them don't even know where they are at some given moment, you know, but they are presidents. It is why I keep calling on the activists. They have a very big role to play. Believe me, people listen to activists more than when their presidents want to speak. So if the activists can come together and try to educate, because the truth is, all the people need is education. You leave the rest to them. Once they are educated, they know what are their rights, they know what they want, and then they look at their suffering. You don't need to do anything else. They themselves know what to do.
Yes, of course. Yes.
So, someone just sent me a message and asked me that, why am I into Senegalese issues? The person is not Senegalese. Actually, the person is from Southern Cameroon, and the person is asking me that, why am I into Senegalese issues? Now, you see, that's what I'm trying to say. You know, this and this show which we started is like, we call it collective dialogue. You know, Voices of Africa. It cuts across the entire Africa, because I came to realize that a lot was going on in Africa, and your next door neighbor doesn't even know what is going on. And the truth is, our leaders use that against us. You sit somewhere and you think that the next country is better than yours, or is worse than yours, not knowing that both of you are, you know, on the same level. Sometimes the only thing I know about a country is what a media that is not even based in African rights.
Okay.
If it's even true, it's another story.
Mm.
It is not supposed to be like that.
Mm.
It is supposed to be a situation where the Senegalese have a problem and the rest of Africa
I can't hear.
gives a hand to them. That is what we need as a people.
Ah, t'entends quelque chose? Moi, j'entends plus.
Oui, moi j'entends. Toi, tu m'entends pas, Serge? Nous, on entend. Hein? C'est toi qui as un problème, je pense.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll leave him come back.
Because when I look at what happened to Ukraine and how fast every European country was ready to jump in and the citizens were ready to protest, you know, like I was like, why does this not happen in Africa?
Mm.
You know, I don't know if the colonialism divided us and made sure that we stayed divided. I have no idea how that works. But I think it is time for us to say that if the people in Senegal are suffering, the rest of Africa needs to. We are not talking about our leaders, we are talking about the people. We need to give a helping hand to them. For example, we have been in a war for 7 years. Very few Africans even know what is going on. In fact, our neighbors who are Nigerians, very few of them even know that I was arrested and jailed in Nigeria. They have no idea. It's true that they also have their own problems, but if we don't come together, we cannot help each other.
Mm. That's true. That's definitely true. And there is some just I'm always saying, like, we in Africa, we are suffering from the same problem, the imperialism. And what I used to say is, like, when we watch all these imperialist countries, all these former colonizators, they are all together. Even they are doing wrong, but they are all having the other one back. But all our us oppressed people, we are like creating a fight between us, while we should like be together and fight the people that that are trying to oppress us, that are keep like stealing our resources. And this is the main problem of Africa. And the day that all the African will know that if you touch one African, you will touch all the African, I swear we will thrive. So that was, sorry, I just
that's why I said it is now the job of the activist. And sometimes I see activists today and I'm like, oh, this is a great activist, and the next day they seem to be a politician. They seem to be politicians, because the moment you pick sides between the opposition and the ruling party, then you have become a politician. Because if you happen to pick sides, it will be difficult for you to start to condemn the other side if they don't do what is right for the people. And that's what is killing us as African activists. We need to differentiate between politicians and activists. If you're an activist, you need to stay clear of the politicians. It doesn't matter who the politician is, your father, your mother, your brother, your sister. Wrong is wrong. I'm telling you before God and man that a lot of Nigerians have no idea that the role Nigeria played in what is happening currently in Southern Cameroon. They have no idea. But they are our next, we share boundary from like 3 different or 4 different locations with Nigeria, but they have no idea. Some don't even know that there have been a war where more than 50,000 people have been killed. There are millions, except those border towns where you have the refugees. But people who live up, like, the Lagos, Abuja, they have no idea what is going on. And you see, this is what the leaders want. They just want each country to manage its affairs, knowing fully well that it's a little bit hard sometimes for just one country to manage its own affairs. Because when you look at South Africa, a lot of countries stood up for South Africa during the apartheid period. From Nigeria to Zimbabwe, a lot of countries did. But right now, countries have their problems. Nobody cares. The only thing we do is we see the news online and we will be like, oh, this African's dictator, and then what? Nothing happens. The next country falls into the same thing. Somebody has written that erasing ECOWAS as a start.
Yes, of course.
But you see, the problem is, I don't think we should look at this. We cannot erase these institutions by just saying that we should erase them. We need to come together like how the Senegalese people have done it now. And now their president is saying, let's dialogue. That's how you erase them. It's only through that dialogue that you would say, this is what we want. If there is no show of force from the people, you cannot erase anything. You cannot change anything. That's what we need.
Yeah, I agree with you. Because I think there's one thing that we need to understand and appreciate as young Africans is that every generation has its own struggles. And most often times, we find our generational struggles to be especially centered around generational transition. Transition, I mean economically, social, and politically. Because the older generation would have fought their own generational, battles, which were mostly identified with the decolonization war, and formed these institutions, ECOWAS, SADC, African Union. If you find their founding principles, they were around, they were influenced by the interests of the current generations in power, the older generation. They formed these institutions to fulfill and act as vehicles to achieve their mission and vision as with the dictate of the day. Their interests as guided by their experience of the day back then in the 80s, 70s, 90s. So one of the major battles for us as a younger generation is to also, rewire our own social legal order, to fit our current interests as a young generation. And it's something that we have to do. It's not a process that we can choose to sit back on and happen naturally. It will never happen because their interests big interests involved, big economic interests, big political interests involved. And they will never let go. Because if they let go, they would also have sold out themselves. So what we need to understand is that we have to fight for this, we have to demand it. We also have to come up with networks, solidarity networks across Africa, in which we sing songs from the same generational hymn book, which we, read from the same script, which we have drafted together as a generation. Because from East Africa to West Africa, be it in Southern Africa, be it in North Africa, our aspirations are the same. It's a better Africa, a competent Africa. We want peace. We want, good governance. So it's time we also think bigger. We think across, even beyond parties, as we were mentioning, create another breed of activists. Back then, they were called freedom fighters. Now it may be debatable because we'll be saying we got our freedom and it can create a totally new, different debate altogether. But we need another generation of fighters who fight for our generational interests. Our interests are concerned with the future. They are concerned with competing with the world in as far as moving forward is concerned. And this is one thing that clearly this older generation cannot understand. But we, of course, have to appreciate for where they took the baton stick up to. What we need to do, if we don't fight, we will not even have appealed their conscience. Because us fighting hard, I'm sure it will convince them that we are responsible enough now to take over the reins. Otherwise, if we don't, I doubt if they will be convinced that we are ready to take over. So it's unfortunate that it has to come to that, but
and I think as the current activists, we have a lot of work to do. Like a lot of work. When I say a lot, it's not little work, because I think we have a mindset. I don't know if it's from colonization or it's now or from, I don't know, something happened. But we as Africans, we don't have the time to educate ourselves about many things. That's the first thing we have. I'll be honest with you. If this show was a show that had to do with gossip, okay, insulting someone, or I don't know, something that adds nothing to anything, you would have millions of people listening. That's how we Africans are. Now, when it comes to educational issues, they are all gone. They are all gone. That's why I'm saying that we have a lot of work to do, because you cannot educate people who are not listening to you. It doesn't happen.
I also see that, especially in Zimbabwe, we see that the modern day role models are those without really values or principles that are good for society, I would rather say. But then we have to give it to them. They have managed to work hard to be innovative in order to influence our generation, And us as activists, us as the young leaders who are fighting for a better Africa, we also need to be competitive. We need to understand that we have competitors in the market to influence our generation. So we also need to, to be innovative. We need to invest in giving positive influence to our peers, in as much as those TikTokers, those bloggers do, those gossipers do. Mind you, they put in a lot of work. They put in a lot of, innovation and creativity for them to really come up with whatever content creation they do. And you'll find them, if you go on their bios on social media, they will write content creator. They took it as a profession, it's serious. But if we go on our bios, I don't think we will see as much description of ourselves as people who are really serious with things. We don't really put much effort. I think we need to take a leaf from them and learn how to do it. Look, in Senegal, a lot is happening. People are fighting for their rights, but other activists across Africa and across the world, where are they? They are nowhere. But if, let's say, issues that arise in Ukraine there or in Palestine there, you see them on the forefront, to speak out. But in Senegal, it's happening. There's a massacre going on in DRC, a genocide going in DRC there. Where are they? We're silent, we're quiet. So, we are not serious. So we can't blame the people if they follow these, these TikTokers, they follow these social content creators. We also need to understand that this is a serious job that we are getting into, and we need to really work on it. If it means we have to be innovative, we have to come up with we need to do that. And I want to show you. I want to show you, for example, how those bloggers take their work seriously. Check, for example, this guy. There's a guy called Speed. The guy invests. You see the meetings that he invests in his trade. He goes everywhere, travels the world, just to make sure he's increasing, the streaming and traffic to his channel and everything. They do a lot, and every year they are now hosting even charity matches, the Sidemen show and everything. They do it. This other day when they had their match in London, Stanford International Station. It was clogged. London was clogged with people who had filled the stadium just to see these YouTubers, these TikTokers. That's how fun it is. That's how much investment they put. So we have a lot of reflecting to do. We need to also put in this much effort. We need to understand that we're not doing anyone a favor. And it's not a privilege we are doing for people, but it's a duty that we have to really do. And we should also, judge ourselves harshly up until such a moment when we are able to turn over the scales, up until when we are able to reach the levels of Lumumba, Patrice Lumumba. They moved a generation. These old people who are in power, who are now turned, liberators, who have turned oppressors, when they were young, our ages, they managed to convince an entire generation of Africans to fight. They managed to convince, their peers that no, freedom and fighting colonial domination and imperialism is the number one task and duty of every African. They managed to do it successfully, and we have to do it. We have to employ whatever tools at our disposal. And if we don't take that responsibility, it's unfortunate. Look, whatever is happening in Senegal is something that we should be talking about regularly on a daily basis. The same way we jump when it's some crisis in Europe or, another thing happening somewhere there where, we should be at the forefront of really articulating and, also illuminating the struggles of the Senegalese people, trying to explain to the ordinary people, to educate them what's happening, how did Senegal get there, who are the players, what are the interests, why is it bad, which ones are the good ones, how should we support them, how can we have solidarity with them. And I can tell you, once we do that, you will find that these TikTokers and YouTubers, they will end up creating content, revolutionary content that we are informing them. And they will run with it. It means we would have managed in our duty to influence them. Thank you. So it's unfortunate I have to rush somewhere, but thank you for the time.
No problem. Thank you. We really appreciate you coming.
Yeah, and also, like on this one, put extra effort, download it, this video. We need to share it into cut it in smaller segments. Find some parts which you share on WhatsApp, on Twitter, on Facebook, because the attention span, no one can really wait for 2 hours to see this whole thing. But you find some attractive part. That's how we popularize whatever we do, and we need to do it regularly. We need to take this as a duty. It's a duty. We're not doing anyone a favor, but we are doing a duty to our generation. Thank you.
You're right. You're right there. You're right. And before you go, and after this show, we are going to, I'm sure our tech guy, who is very generous with us, he's going to download it and then put it on Google Drive, because I think it will be too heavy for a normal WhatsApp share. And then you can download it from there, and you can get whatever part you want to get to share with your people. But before you leave, I want you to know that this platform on this show right now is specifically for Africans. Now, like, it doesn't matter where you come from, whether Democratic Republic of Congo, Nigeria, wherever you come from, and you want to send your message to other Africans, the platform is open for you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, and it's been great meeting you, Serge. It's been great meeting you, Awa, and
Nice
of
to meet
course,
you too.
thanks for hosting, Nalo. And we need to
I'm
do
sure
this
in
more.
that forum, we are all in the forum, but we have never seen each other.
Yes.
He's also in the WhatsApp group. You are in the
Yes, in the
WhatsApp group.
WhatsApp
Yes.
group. He is in the WhatsApp group. You see.
Okay,
Yeah.
now we'll talk. We'll talk a lot now.
All right.
From
Thank
in
you.
the
Thank
WhatsApp group, we have to talk a bit more
More,
because
more in
most
the
of the
WhatsApp
time we
group.
have the same
Yes.
subject that we want to discuss, but we don't do it. We need to do it
Yes.
more often. I think. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So thank you very much. Awa and Serge, do you guys have anything to add before we let our tech guy go to bed?
For me, it's simple. Okay, thanks, Awa, for the honor. Now, for me, it's simple. I do agree with the one who left. Sorry, I don't know his name. I don't.
Macomborero.
Macomborero. Okay. Thank you. I agree with him. And one thing very important for me is that as African, we need to talk a lot about the real subject that our continent is facing to. Most of the time, when we meet or when we are in some platform, we talk about some things, not about things that not very important, And I think we need to know each other for the first, and the second one is we need to know what's happening in which country. For example, most of the time when you say to French, to French African, when you say them that in Cameroon there is a part where they just speak English, people don't know. They think that Cameroonian only speak French. There is not a part where they where they speak English. And I think this is a matter of education. We need to talk about in our platform and also in our TikToks, Twitter, etc. And for Senegalese now, where I finish is the fact is simple for me is that we'll have the election in March. We need to have it, and I'm sure we'll have it. And after this, we have to change all our republic. I think that things are not working normally. I think that we have a president who is acting as a king. You give him too much power, and the guy can kill every time he wants. He can bring anyone he wants in prison. I think we need to change this republic, and this will happen after the election. So let's cross the fingers and think that no one will die again. We'll have our normal election, our regular election, and choose a new president who will be maybe Jomai. Awa?
Yeah.
I
I
think
hope
that it will
too.
be
I'm
Jomai,
happy.
and
I'm happy for you guys. I see how you guys are
we got a
excited
new
for your new
president, and
president.
yeah, Senegalese will enjoy it, I'm sure. Thanks, Naro, for
No,
the
no.
show again.
Believe me, I think you guys are lucky because I don't want to talk about the Cameroon that I know.
Got you.
Yeah. You guys are lucky because your president at least is young enough. He knows where he is at every given time. Uh,
Yep.
uh, um, you want to know how deep we need to educate Africans is when you see a president celebrating his 91st birthday. I mean, 91. That is supposed to be my great great grandfather. And you see someone going to the post and it's like, uh, 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 what a bon anniversaire, mon president. Then I go to the profile and I'm looking like maybe this is an old man of 60, 70. Then you look
Yeah.
at a child who is maybe 20 and you're like, you
Yeah.
call this man your president. You are 20, you might not even have a job. You know, you might not even
Yeah.
have a home to live as you're typing. And you're calling this
Absolutely.
man at 91. Are you serious? So you see, that's why I say that we have a lot of work. The work we have, believe me, we cannot imagine it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
If
Absolutely.
you if
Now
you
things
see
gonna
where
change very soon. Yeah.
if you see where refugees were kidnapped in Nigeria by the Nigerian military, because I will not say arrest, because when you say arrest, it means you have a warrant to arrest the person. Or maybe you arrested a person in the act, committing an act. Not when 12 people sit in an off license, unarmed, with nothing, just having drinks and eating, and then you pick them up, you lock them up, and then you repatriate them to Cameroon. And then Nigerians did not even know what happened. They didn't even know what happened. How do you pick up refugees and send them back to the country where they ran from for no just cause? These refugees pose no insecurity to your country. They are not armed robbers. They are nothing. You just pick them up because another country says, I need these people. Believe me, you cannot do that in Germany. If you do that, there will be protests everywhere. Everywhere. You have to figure out how to bring them back. But you see, in Africa, they have made us in a way that everybody's like, oh, I have my own problems. Let them manage their own problems. That's how we have been programmed to think in Africa. Nigerians will say, please, we have our own problems. Let Cameroonians manage their. The Cameroonians will say, we have our own problems. Let the Amazonians do whatever they want to do. Everybody's like, do whatever you want to do. But that's not how it's supposed to be. If we keep saying that A should do what they want to do, or B do what you want to do, at the end of the day, we'll keep having the same scenario repeating itself in different countries every day. We even vote for people that we know deep within us, they are medically unfit, psychologically unfit, physically unfit, in fact, everything unfit. But you still see people who are 25 years old, have left the university, have no job, have no any other source of income. Family, their parents are struggling. They still go to vote for these people. You begin to ask yourself, how did we get here? But it's only in Africa that it happens. That's why I think that this is something we need to keep talking. They say, even when we're growing up, our parents used to say, if you don't hear today, you will hear tomorrow. Maybe if we keep going, at some point, our people will understand where we are coming from. Because I'll be honest with you, we have lived for more than 60 years under French Cameroon. And believe me, it has not been an easy 60 years. It has been 60 years of pain. I mean, pain like, when a child grows up in pain, that is how many of us grow up. When you grow up in your home, but you think that somebody is better than you. I mean, even this person that is not actually better than you. Even like you are a manager and someone is just a worker, but because the person is from French Cameroon, automatically you begin to think that the person is better than you because of the way they had treated us. And I will be honest, even now as we speak, there are still some Southern Cameroonians who still think that staying with French Cameroon is good for them. And they don't even see what is wrong, because there's a difference between somebody saying that I don't want to join you, but I know the country is bad. And somebody saying that, why are you people shouting as if we are the only ones with such a bad country? It means that they know that there is a problem, but they are okay with it. So you see, we have more to do than the way we are seeing it now. And that's why I love the people of Senegal, because they look like, if you say something and then they go to their constitution, they just read it and it doesn't make sense to them, they're in the streets. And yeah, and it's because that's the only, even legally, protests they're okay, they're legalized. So it's not like anyone is doing anything that is illegal. It's the only way that civilians get to ask for demands from their government peacefully. But the problem in Africa is there's no peaceful protest. The moment you are out of your house, the government starts to see you as a threat.
Yes,
In Europe, when you are, in Europe, when you are protesting, the government sends the police to come and guide you instead to make sure that you are okay. Nothing
Yeah,
happens to you.
I can relate because last Saturday we had a protest here for Senegal. We are in France and we are protesting about what is happening in Senegal. But I've seen mothers with their babies, with children. Everybody was at the protest. There was like a lot of Senegalese. And at a moment, someone said, like, look at this. There are children, there are mummies, there are old person. And it was okay. They was just with us saying, you have to go on this way. And when we arrived, they were with us and wait. At the moment they start to tell us that you have to leave now because your time is up, and it's okay. And this is the problem, and this is something that got me really mad when people in Senegal at the moment say that you don't have to go to protest. If you died, it's your fault. Why should we put in our head that protesting is equal to go and die? It's our constitution. We have the right to protest peacefully, and all the time it was peacefully. But it's the problem in Africa, and like what you were saying, like we have to educate ourselves. We have to learn what is happening all around the world, in our own countries, because in Senegal there are some people who really don't know what is happening, because it's not their concern. They don't think that, oh, okay, as long as I have my job, as long as I'm at my home, I'm working, I'm okay. What is happening to the neighbor, what is happening to the person like in put in jail like illegally, it's not my problem. And this is the individualism. I don't know if the word exists in English, but in French it's like that. People are so selfish. African people are so selfish, and that's why our president are keep doing these kind of things to us. When you are in Europe, you see, like, when in France we have the phenomenon of the gilets jaunes, people who were protesting about like how life was so expensive, about all of the things. But you see all the category of the population: rich people, like not that rich, the middle, like I don't know, the middle
Middle
class.
class.
In middle class, you see like people working as bartenders, people, you see like lawyers, you see like all the category of the population, like they know how to fight for everyone. But in Africa, our problem is, as long as I'm not concerned directly, it's none of my business. And we have to work on that. And you were talking about activists, and Mokombore, like talk about an example. And I was always saying that people in Africa or in Senegal, they will not talk about what is happening in Senegal. People are killing, but they would talk about what is happening in Palestine. I'm not doing a comparison. It's horrible what is happening in Palestine, and I'm always talking about what is happening in Palestine. But what I want to say is, if you are fighting against injustice, you have to fight it for everyone, for Senegal, for Africa, for Europe, for Asia, for white, black, Muslim, non-Muslim. And this is our problem. And for Senegal, I will just say, you were talking about like, yeah, Senegal, you just go out when someone want to touch your constitution. Yeah, but it was not like that. There are some people who always done it, because in 2011, I was part of that people. Serge was part of that people when our former president wanted to touch our constitution. But now what is happening is the change.
You are showing to people that I'm not so young.
I'm not so young too. We're both not young.
And who is young? Who is young? Serge, remember I'm your elder sister still.
Yeah, you are okay. We all young. We all young, actually.
We're all young. Being young is in the head. I'm young in my head. the number doesn't count. And what I wanted to say is the change, I will put it into bracket, the chance of Senegalese people is Usman Sonko, because he waken up lot of people. I will take my example. Like, I was never like interested about law. It's not my thing. But now in Senegal, all the Senegalese people, if you heard something, they would check on it. They would say, okay, this article 20, 51, article 52, article 29, all the Senegalese people know everything because this guy was transparent with us. This guy showed us that it's our time for African people. It's our time to rise. It's our time to know what is happening, what our former president deal with other like European countries. And it's time that we show that we are like independent. And this is the chance of Senegal. And for the next thing, I will have the same opinion than Serge. We don't have to stop until we do not have an official date, and until we are not in the election. People should not stop protesting, even if it's just making sit-ins and saying that we want a clear date, an official date. Because I've seen the president like they just say, oh, okay, we will respect the constitutional council, what they say. We will organize the election in the best time possible. We don't want best time. We want a clear date. We want an official date when the election will take place. That's it. And he knows how to deal with Senegalese people. I'm sure that all the people that has been released yesterday, it was just for calming people. Because today, we normally a big protest was planned today, but like it doesn't happen because he released a lot of people. And I can understand people, like they go back to their family, they're happy, and we see all the story, all the people like explaining how they get arrested. And yeah, but I think from tomorrow, people should keep protesting. In France, we will protest tomorrow. We will keep protesting until we have an official date of the election. So, and I'm so happy to share this panel with you. So that was my last word.
Thank you very much.
Sorry,
And where will you be protesting? Where will you be protesting in France?
Tomorrow at 5. I don't know the exact, but yeah, tomorrow. Every Saturday we will protest, and it's not only in Paris. There were like in all France, like people are protesting.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I see. Oh, that's nice. Really, Serge, is there something you would want to say before we close?
No, we good. I said all. I said everything. She's
This is
good.
the first time I see a man bowing to a woman. That's great.
You know, I'm one of her fan. You know,
no,
she knows that I'm fan
no.
of Awa, and she said everything's nice, Awa, and for real, keep pushing, Awa. I know you are doing a very good job, even if you are not in the country. I have to say it here. I know when the power will change, we'll need you here in Senegal for changing things.
That's the only thing I'm waiting. Because
and the moment you move back to Senegal, I'm moving to Senegal too.
Yeah, you
from the moment I can't go to Senegal, but from the moment that thing will change, I'm sure I will go back to Senegal.
But currently you can't. Don't even try.
No. I will not try that right now. No.
No, for real.
I'm more useful here than in jail in Senegal.
Yeah. So don't come yet. For real, Naloa, thank you. Thanks to Awa. Thanks so much. To the other one. Sorry, I used to forget his name.
Rocambolero.
The two, that makes the two of us.
I'm sure he will understand. And yes, let's talk again about Senegal with a new president, I guess, in March. with Mr. Joe Mai, the new
Yes, Mr. Joe
president.
Maifei.
Joe
I
Mai.
hope
Mm.
he will be
Yes,
the next president.
let's hope, and let's hope changes for every country in Africa. Thanks again, Nalo.
Thanks,
Thank
Nalo.
you very much. So so Serge, you are going to cover the elections for us. Um, because I've been in prison before, and I don't want to be in prison again in Senegal. So um, it shouldn't be like every African country I go to, I end up in jail.
No, you won't be judged here. You will come and be an observer, and yeah, you'll enjoy
And no, 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 that
the
doesn't work.
election.
In Zimbabwe, observers were actually arrested. Now that's to tell
Oh,
you
they
where.
did.
Oh yes. You see, our African leaders, they don't look at your face when they want to do something. They do it and then they look at your face later. So, so let's see. So I think maybe if things change, we would inform the people if anything changes, and we would be talking about. We would have some activists from the Democratic Republic of Congo next week. But the only problem I have is that they don't speak English. They are French speaking. So maybe says she would need to be on the panel, if
I
that's
think
okay.
I think we lost Serge.
Oh,
He
he's
had
gone.
yeah.
Yeah, we have some activists from DRC who will come in
Okay.
next week,
Yeah.
and we would really need someone who really speaks real French.
Okay.
Not
If you
yeah.
need me, I'm here. Just
Yes,
tell
so
me
if
when.
you are available, no problem. If both of you are available, it even makes it better because you guys speak English and French very well. It
Okay.
will really
Okay.
help us.
It will be with great pleasure.
Okay. Oh, thank you very much. I'm
Thank you,
so happy
Nalo.
you were able to make it.
Yeah, I'm so happy too, and I hope your niece will be okay. And I wish you a good evening, and we will talk more in the group, in
I,
the
I, and, I,
WhatsApp
and
group.
I want to send you an Amazonian flag. So maybe you should send me the address where you are having the protest tomorrow, and I have my sister give you our flag.
Okay, okay, of course. Okay, I will.
Yeah,
I
so
will.
you send me the address and the time, and then I talk to her, and then so that she would know when to meet you there.
Okay, okay, okay. I will send it
Yeah.
to you right now on WhatsApp.
Okay. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Nanoa. Bye bye. See you soon.